You know, before we get into the progression of change of direction training, I know Martin has a little trick up his sleeve to explain center of gravity management. So Martin, what do you got?
Well, when we talked about everything being center of gravity management, a lot of times what's hard right off the bat for coaches or athletes is to really understand what the center of gravity really is. And in theory, the center of gravity is a space kind of about an inch below the navel. And to kids, that's hard to understand. And I'd always say to kids, your center of gravity's right here, your center of gravity's right here. And while I was wearing a stopwatch, I kept hitting the stopwatch. And I started to notice that, well, man, hey guys, the center of gravity, if you look, it's right here. And what's interesting is when I turn to the side and I bend forward, the center of gravity actually stays in the right spot. So now my center of gravity is actually right here. It leaves the body when you change positions. And then I started to tell kids, well, we want to manage this center of gravity with our movements. So if I start to move to the side, now my center of gravity is here, so my weight is now pulling me in this direction. I can understand better which way to move. So this became a great tool for me to start explaining center of gravity and how to manage it with kids. So as I move, if it's in front of me right here and my feet press down, I'm going to jump straight up in the air. But now as I move to the side and the center of gravity changes and now I press, I'm going to go in the direction of that center of gravity. So this became a great tool for you as a coach to maybe explain to kids, but to understand. Now, the first part to understand about center of gravity management is we also have to look at the base of support. So right here, my base of support is very narrow. And my center of gravity right now is as far away from it as it could be. So the further my center of gravity is away from a narrow base of support, the more unstable I become. So right here, I'm not in a great position to change direction or move anywhere, and I'm going to be easy to knock down. So now I make the base of support even larger, but I still keep the center of gravity away by standing tall. I'm a little more balanced, but still it's going to be more difficult to change direction and move around. But in the next stage, now to understand center of gravity, now I'm getting my center of gravity closer to my base of support, which we like to call the athletic position, we call the landing position. Now I'm in a position to really move side to side, and this stopwatch is a great tool, a great little trick to key that for kids. So hey, where's your center of gravity at in relation to your base of support? Is it right over it? Is it low to it? Is it close? Is your base of support wide enough to stay stable and balanced? These are the first parts about change of direction or agility training you have to understand before we can move further into the progression. So coaches, get your kids to understand what center of gravity is, what base of support is, and when you look at human movement, you've got to look at the interrelationship between both of them, and that's going to cue us for everything that we do in the progression on this DVD.